there's always that moment of like, oh, well, we're starting, oh, we're starting.
And now we're here.
And now we're here.
We're doing it.
And there's an intro. That's all you need.
There it is again.
Hi guys, it's Michael Buckley and welcome back to The Struggles is Reals, where I interview my YouTube friends and talk about challenges and obstacles and how they've overcome them. This is my friend Alana. Hey, Alana, hey!
Elena, it's pronounced Elena.
That's our intro.
To correct you.
That was amazing. It's spelled A-L...
A-Y-N-A.
Oh, it's the Y.
Yeah.
Take two. No, leave it. Roll credits.
And I'm leaving.
Yes. So Elena, have I been calling you Alana for like ever?
No, you've always called me Elena. Like when you just said that, I was like, that's so weird because you have never called me that before.
Was I thinking of an Alana lately? I was hanging out with Lainey at place. So the Alanas and the Elenas. And anyway, so for those of you who don't know, tell everybody about your YouTube channel and what do you do on the YouTube, the internet, what's your content?
Yeah.
Tell us everything about you.
So my channel is Missfenderr with 2 R's, and I mostly talk about mental health and sexuality stuff. I have a series called I Don't Buy It, Bi like bisexual. It's satire, it's my favorite thing that I do. Mostly mental health and sexuality.
And that's my favorite thing ever, because I think if I had to pick anything in the world to talk about on YouTube, it would be mental health and sexuality. So I was so drawn to you, and I think I saw you at, was it Buffer or something? We were on a panel.
I think Buffer.
I was just listening to you, and I'm like, tell me everything, tell me everything, tell me everything. So what made you be focused on that type of content? What was your driving force when you began doing that?
Well, I started YouTube when I was in high school, actually, and I started because I'm from a really small town where no one that I knew had anxiety, nobody that I knew had panic attacks, and nobody that I knew was struggling with their sexuality. I didn't even know that I was struggling with my sexuality at the time, and then I found YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard this 100 times, but I found people who were like me. I found other people that showed me that I wasn't alone. And so I started my YouTube channel because I wanted to be like them.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like those people. And then once I became comfortable kind of in myself, with my anxiety and my own sexuality, and I was public with those things, then that's when I had the courage to talk about it online.
Amazing. I think that's like the best reason to be a YouTuber is, and that's like the full circle moment. It's like, yeah. I watched these people, they meant something to me. Yes. I want to be that person. So again, there's nothing self-indulgent or, oh, I want to be a star. It's like, I just want to be there in case someone is going through these things that they say, I went through these things and really it's okay. And it's really important to talk about these things too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. And that's the whole thing. Like I wanted to be a part of the community. Before, it was almost like a subconscious thing. Like when I started, I was like, I just like making videos and I want to do it. But really, I wanted to be a part of that community. I wanted to be a part of it. And then when I do talk about mental health and sexuality, the point is because I know what it feels like to feel alone. I know what it feels like to not know what's happening to you and to think you're the only one experiencing it. And I also know what it's like to find those videos and to feel that weight off your chest.
Do you remember a video you saw specifically back in the day, or a creator that you were like, oh, they expressed what I was feeling and it felt so good to hear them say that?
In an interesting way, I remember Lucy, I don't remember her last name, she was dating someone named Kaylin. It was like Lucy and Kaylin. Okay. And I watched her coming out video, and she's very feminine. She's feminine presenting. Yep. And I think that was the first coming out story that I'd ever seen where someone feminine was also attracted to other women, and it sticks out in my mind. Yeah, I think because I related to it.
And it's funny how you think, right? We're as comfortable as we might be, or as uncomfortable as we might be. YouTube for many of us is like I was telling her off camera, Aiden Dowling, who is a female to male transgender who's married to a woman, and I was just like, I've never met someone like this, so it's so good for me to see you and see your story, and thank you for being online and sharing it. And also in the last couple years, it's really become, that we were talking about the difference between sexual orientation and sexual identity, which even someone like me at 40 years old, I was kind of like, I didn't understand the difference. Like, I remember just talking to people.
Identity,
no, I never thought about it that way. Never thought about it. Now, so like seeing YouTube creators talk about their own stories has been very helpful, even at my older age, to hear, to learn, to be educated, to overcome my racism, homophobia, sexism, all the stuff that I carried around for 30-something years of my life. Yeah.
Well, yeah, gender is a huge conversation right now. Yeah. I know, like, the ace community, the asexuality community, I didn't know asexuality existed,
Right.
right? And of course it's always existed. It's
Right.
not like it's a new thing.
Right.
But we get to learn about it because people are sharing their stories and it's beautiful.
I'd never heard the word pansexual, and then anytime I'd make a video and I'd say, I'd said something about how people want to have sex, men are built for sex or whatever, they want to have sex, and then I got all these comments, well actually a lot of us are asexual and quite frankly we don't want to have sex, and I'm like, well I stand corrected, so I apologize, and so again.
And there are also women who really want to have sex.
Right, exactly, right,
yeah, it's like
right, so that's again, it's a learning curve for all of us.
Absolutely.
And we have to, and again, we can't be hypersensitive to how we present ourselves, because again, I'm willing to go back like 10 years, 7 years, 3 years and be like, oh yeah, I said it, I meant it at the time, and now I think differently, and I've evolved, I've changed, it is what it is. I'm not going to delete the video and be like, oh, I used to be such an a-hole. It's like, I just didn't know better, so.
Everybody has to learn. Nobody knows everything that they know from the beginning.
Right.
And I think when you see someone who maybe says something that you don't agree with or doesn't know something that you know, before you get so mad and jump down,
go drag them on Tumblr.
Yeah, try to remember that there was also a time that you didn't know.
Right,
Everyone has to learn how did we get here?
I don't know. I love talking about these things. I can talk about this all day.
Yeah, it's really
but anyway, so check out the channel and all that stuff. I mean, her channel, you're so brave and so well-spoken about the topics you talk about. So thank you for that. So what I talked about YouTube friends is I always kind of say, what was it doesn't have to be the biggest, but like when you think about like, how old are you now?
25. I just turned 25.
Happy birthday, 25. So in the first 25 years, what was a major obstacle or struggle or very challenging time in your life, and how did you get over it? What were your resources? What were your tools? What was your self-talk? How did you help yourself?
Oh man.
Pick
That's
one.
such a big question.
I know. I don't like small talk. I really hate small talk. I don't like chat. Oh, what's your favorite color? Oh, let's do our makeup, and then no. I want deep dive. I want spill your guts.
The first time that we ever met, my partner Dallas was there, and you're like, oh, this is your partner, Selena, whatever. And I remember you were like, what's your favorite thing about each other?
Yeah.
Name one quality.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I think it's important to know in couples. It's like, what do you like about this person? Name 3 things right off the top of your head. It's important, because when you're going through troubling times in a couple, it's very important to go, even as a person, I life coach, and I'm like, what are 3 things you love about yourself? So there's days you can't get out of bed. It's like, well, I have blank, blank, and blank. So it's like, keep that in mind. And I was probably hitting on both of you. I probably thought you were both good. I'm like, hey. Anyway, so yes, what would you pick as like a challenge or a struggle that you feel like now, 20 on the other side of it, you know?
Okay, so we can go with anxiety. I mean, obviously coming out and stuff, that's another one. But we can do anxiety. With panic attacks and anxiety and everything, there was a time when I considered dropping out of high school because I was having all these panic attacks and I was so overwhelmed. And there was a time I considered dropping out of university, having all these panic attacks, entirely overwhelmed. Everything just felt like it was getting worse.
What does a panic attack feel like for someone like me who's never had a panic attack? What does a panic attack feel like?
It's super different for every person. For me, it feels like I can't breathe. First and foremost, that's what I notice is my chest kind of closes up and I start feeling like I can't breathe, like someone's squeezing my lungs. And secondly, I can't get my thoughts, like I can't get a hold of them. They start going so quickly and it's all the bad things. All the bad things that could possibly happen are happening. They're not happening, but it's like, it feels like everything is actually happening. Your heart starts pounding, my palms start sweating. Oh, I get really nauseous.
Great.
And then
it's all full body.
I know, it's really physical. It's really physical. And so then what other people see is I start hyperventilating because like I feel like I can't breathe. That's the biggest thing for me. For some people, the biggest thing is like their heart is palpitating so quickly they actually think they're having a heart attack. So many cases in the ER of people coming in saying I'm having a heart attack are actually just panic attacks because it can be that physical. And for some people, it's very mental. So for someone could be having a panic attack and you don't even know it because it's entirely mental. So yeah.
And so how were you hit? So this is university. You were going to drop out. Like, what were you coping? Were you in therapy? Were you talking to someone? Were you aware it was a panic attack, or were you like, I don't know what's happening?
In high school, I wasn't aware, and then I went to therapy, and that was super helpful at the time. In university is when I actually discovered mindfulness and self-compassion. And that's a huge part of my YouTube channel now. It's a huge part of my life now. I'm actually a certified mindful self-compassion teacher.
Awesome.
And so after I discovered those practices and I really integrated them into my life, I had a teacher also who was really, really helpful for me in teaching me about these concepts, practices, whatever you want to call them. And that was a huge game changer was learning about mindfulness.
So separate from therapy, what made you go to, did someone say this worked for me, or what made you interested in that?
It was a professor at university, talked about a study about mindfulness meditation and, you know, the way that it worked. And he explained what it is, which is essentially being present in this moment non-judgmentally. That's essentially mindfulness. Choosing to pay attention to this moment, mentally, physically, whatever it is. And it just made inherent sense to me. Intuitively, it just made sense. It was like something clicked.
Yeah.
Because anxiety and depression and a lot of mental struggle comes from us being stuck in the past, ruminating on something that happened yesterday or a month ago or a year ago. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that thing. What did they think? Ruminating, or worrying about something that might happen in the future.
Absolutely.
What if?
Yeah.
In this moment, we're okay.
Yeah.
This is fine. I'm good. And so realizing that was like a complete shift in the way that I saw the world, and being able to kind of try my best to pull myself out of those rumination states and back into this moment has been really helpful in stopping my panic attacks in their tracks a lot of the time. And when I'm not able to stop them, being present, riding it out, and then offering myself kindness because it's happening.
Wow, that's amazing. That's powerful. Like
that's so powerful. It's simple, but it's not easy.
Yes.
Powerful.
That's amazing. So if people want to work with you, you work with people like on things like this. That's so good. Yeah. So when you work with like clients and people, do they get it quick, or is it like a slow, like, did you see the light bulb go on? Or is it like it take a little, some people are different, I'm sure, but.
Of course everyone's different.
But you love it, so it must be so wonderful for you to teach it, because again, you're the walking billboard. This is what changed my life.
It changed my life.
Amazing.
And so there's definitely the light bulb, right? Yeah. And there's this, obsession and I can't think of the word, it's not affection, but this kind of overwhelming rose-colored glasses. This is going to change my life. My world is fixed. I'll never have another panic attack again. I've just discovered mindfulness, right? And then as we work together, I do group. Yeah. It's like a group workshop stuff. Yeah. As we work together, as the weeks go on, you hit, oh, I just had another panic attack. I thought this was going to fix me. I'm still having troubles with my dad. I thought that my work still makes me feel stressed out. And they hit this kind of disillusionment of like, what's the point? I'm doing all this work, what's the point? And then you offer yourself kindness, and you kind of go more toward the self-compassion practice, right? Which a lot of people think, I don't need self-compassion.
Everyone needs self-compassion.
Absolutely.
And mindfulness. And you kind of, if you don't think you need it more than anything, probably.
And you know, continuing to work with the practices, then they can come to a place called acceptance, and kind of, it's more like a true acceptance. Right. And then you start all over again. Yeah. And then you get, infatuation. That's the word I was looking for. Okay. Back to infatuation, back to disillusionment. It's like a cycle.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Well, I mean, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I feel like I learned a lot. And I know a lot of people who watch my videos struggle with things like that, and they reach out to me about things like that. So now I've got a little tool in my pocket to kind of share with them. So thank you so much. Check out her YouTube channel, links below. And by all means, if you're having panic attacks, work with her. Join her group. That sounds amazing.
And I have a lot of videos about mindfulness and self-compassion and like how to use them and what they are.
Awesome. Go on a I can speak. Playwithly at notalana.com. I love, this is actually probably the second or third time that I've called the person like the wrong name in the moment, and I said it so fast, and you can just see their face like,
well, you just said, I interview my YouTube friends. Yeah. This is Alana. And I was like, oh.
This bitch. Just walked right off the street. Never met. All right, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Compassion, kindness, mindfulness. Yes.
Yeah, compassion revolution. Hashtag.